Hey, what is up guys, Bongonzo here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I mix my beats in Cakewalk Bandlab. These techniques can be used in any single DAW. I really talk about how I use mono to mix my beats. This video was directly requested by young Carl, and I figured I haven't done this kind of video in a long time, so I might as well show you guys some new tips. So although my mixing process is quite long, I cut it up into a whole bunch of different things so you guys can get as much value out of this video as possible. So this video is going to be jam-packed with a whole bunch of awesome gems, so let's just get into it. Woo! Before we get started, I'm going to show you before and after, so here's before. And here's after. So as you can see, it sounds a lot cleaner. There's nothing really overlapping. Everything sounds crispy together. Let me show you how I did it. So the purpose of mixing is to make sure you can get your song from a song that you made inside your DAW to something that you'd be willing to send to a rapper to rap on, or maybe you're sending your song to like Spotify or something like that. You guys already know, I haven't been shy about it. I use DistroKid for all of my releases. One really interesting feature about DistroKid though is their team feature. What that basically is that you can actually set it up so that different people get different percentages of the royalties. What I would be able to do is I would be able to say like, Bongonzo gets 70% of the earnings and this other person gets 30% of the earnings because he made the melody, he gave me a couple of good ideas, so he should have a percentage of the song. So after you set up those percentages, DistroKid automatically just like shoots out the money to everyone who deserves the money. And you don't have to go through and figure out who gets what, it just automatically goes. And you can add as many people as you want, you can change the percentages at any time, you can remove people as much as you want. And I've already talked about these pros in the past. DistroKid never takes any percentage of the beat, you always get 100% of the beat. On top of that, it always has fast release times. I've literally bragged about how the fact that you can upload a song and then literally the next day it can be on iTunes. This part of the video is sponsored by DistroKid, but now let's actually get into the mixing part of the video so we can actually learn how to make our beats ready to be sent to places like Spotify. Let's just get into it. Woo! Very first step, what I do when I mix my beats is I select in my drop, hit Shift L, and then we're going to be looping that one drop section. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solo every single instrument independently, and I'm going to listen, is there like way too much stereo information going on? Like, does it sound really annoying? Like for example, listen to this pluck here. Now listen to it in stereo. I think it sounds better in mono. Now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this plug called stereo, and then I'm gonna turn the width all the way down. Basically, you just gotta compare what it sounds like in stereo, what it sounds like in mono, because oftentimes, even if your snare sounds good with it like stereo, making it mono might make it a lot more crispy, which is what you want. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my melody of my drop and I'm gonna find what are the most important instruments. So I think it's gonna be these two instruments right here. I'm now gonna add an EQ to this. So how I tend to use my EQ is I'll hit this little like Pro channel button here, and then I'll just open up my EQ channel. And this is just a really easy way to quickly open up my EQ. Trying to kind of shape the sound, but I'm also gonna cut a little bit of high end because the other sound is a lot more high end. Nice. What I did right here is there's a little bit of sound like kind of mushing together in this mid-range. So now if you solo those two together, I think those sound really, really nice together. And what I'm doing right now is I'm only trying to make the melody sounds sound good together. Then I'm going to do some more fading stuff. We're just trying to make things sound clean. I feel like I hear a little low end in here, so I'm going to use an EQ to get this out. If I could freeze the screen, as you can see, there's a lot of low end down there that I don't want. I only want to keep the pure sound of it and some high end. I've heard the tip is that you bring this high pass up until you start hearing something happening, and then you pull back a little bit. That's, I hear it there. So I'm just gonna go like that and pull it back a little bit. This sound is from Expand. It sounds pretty fire. But there's a lot of mid-range in there that's kind of overlapping with the other melodies. The way you test it is if you boost things way, way up, and then you listen, where does it sound like it's covering things up the most? That's where it's covering things up the most. If I have it right here, it's covering up a lot of stuff. That's way better. So now that the melody is sounding separate and everything is sounding clean together, now we start actually doing the mixing section. I mean, that was sort of mixing, but now here's the real fun mixing part. So I'm gonna go into my master channel and I'm gonna hit the interleave stereo button. So now we're having the entire song in mono. So now what we do is hit Control A to select all of our tracks and then hold Control and drag them all down to 0. Now what we can do is we can bring each fader up one at a time, introducing the sounds and then bounce them together. So now I have a EQ on the melody bus. So all of the melodies are going into this EQ. And I'm just cleaning up so I have room for the 808. I usually do my open hat right after my kick and 808 because I think the open hat really glues together the kick and 808. I think I want to add a little bit more drive to my 808, so that's a bit better. I'm also going to add an EQ plugin to my 808. I'm going to add Neutron 3 elements, but you can also use Ozone 9 elements. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to click once, turn this to a flat high pass, and make it very, very steep, and put it around 33 hertz. I'm going to add an EQ to my hi-hat. So now that I think everything is sounding good in this beat so far, what I'm going to do now is this beat is still in mono. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually plug in headphones and I'm listening to my beat through headphones, see how it sounds, tweak anything if I need to, and then we're going to turn it into stereo. But that's where the beat is going to come in. I'm actually going to move that sound up an octave. Move this sound up an octave. Sounding much better. Now let's bring the rest of the stuff. There we go. Now I'm gonna go into span real quick. And we're looking pretty even. What we wanna do is we kinda wanna have a straight line all the way across. So I'm gonna turn my 808s down a little bit. This is a time-consuming process, but this idea is that if you can make your song sound good in mono on multiple different like headphones and speakers and stuff like that, it's gonna sound good in stereo on any speaker. The idea is that there are two different ways to separate your melodies from sounding muddy together. Number one way is to EQ things so that they're not overlapping. Number two way is to pan things separately. Now, if you're listening to it on, like, let's say a phone or something like that, your phone doesn't pan things separately. It's only a mono signal. So therefore, you got to make sure your song sounds good in mono. But if it sounds good in mono, it's going to sound even better in stereo because you're going to have the separation. Now I'm going to add Camel Crush on here. I'm going to go to tube warmth preset. Make sure you gain match. Just so there's a little bit more impact when the drop hits, I'm going to sidechain from my kick drum to my melody bus. So on my melody bus, I'm going to put an M compressor, turn on enable here, turn on sidechain input. And then on my kick track, I'm going to hit the sends button, go to sends to melody M compressor. And I'm going to turn my attack to 0. So I'm just gonna drive the input gain up so we can get a little bit of distortion. That is the EQ curve that I usually have when I'm using Ozone to master my beats. I mean, I might turn this one down a little bit, turn this one down a little bit, because I do like having a little bit more low end and a little bit less high end. This beat took me a while to mix, but I mean, I love how it sounds. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you liked this kind of mostly talking and explanation kind of video, let me know. If you have any questions about mixing in general, I'll leave them in the comment section. I'm not like the most pro mixer of all time, but I think this turned out great. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I have 2 videos a week, every Sunday and every Thursday. Live streams every Saturday. See you guys later. Woo!